It took a lot of effort, but I finally got into the military school that I've always dreamed of. I'm now one step closer to being an actual soldier. Ah!
Hey, midget, move it. You're blocking my way.
What? How dare he? This rude guy deserved a lesson. Suddenly, a hand grabbed my fist. I looked up. Oh, it was some tough-looking guy with tanned skin and bright eyes. He picked up my backpack and said, "First, you have to know your enemy. He's Eric." Before I could reply to this boy, he walked off. At that moment, the siren sounded, and I quickly got in line.
Choose your groups. You have 1 minute.
Looking around, I saw two guys looking as awkward as I did. So I shuffled over to them, and we became a group. Oh, but wait. Why did that guy who picked up my backpack team up with that obnoxious jerk Eric? It turned out our groups would be our roommates, and we were placed in room P02, which was right opposite Eric's room. My roomies are Tom, who was forced here due to his family's military background, and Henry, a notorious playboy who was sent here by his father to stop his opulent ways and learn how to lead a disciplined life. What about me? Well, I'm a girl. My disguise is awesome, right? You see, I have a twin brother, Jack, so I took his identity, and voila, here I am. Ever since I was a little kid, I've loved martial arts and always dreamed of one day becoming a soldier. I thought life here would be great, but it certainly had its challenges. Every morning, whatever the weather, we have to wake up at 5 a.m. and run around the yard. The showers were ice cold, and worse still, because I'm a girl, I had to sneak into the freezing shower block in the dead of night when no one was around, and physical education here is surely rough. Although I train a lot, I'm still always ranked at the bottom. I also struggle to finish the massive meal portions here. Not only do we have to work out loads, but our chores are also endless. Cooking, gardening, ironing, helping out with constructions. I was a novice at these things, so I was super clumsy and messed them up. Luckily, I always had Tom and Henry on my side. Tom is a nerd, and although he doesn't like studying here, his grades are top of the class, and he gives me the answers to the questions I don't know. As for Henry, he gets top grades in PE class, and even though he teases me a lot, he's the one who protects me from Eric. Speaking of Eric, he's a jerk who teases weaker students in school. But he gets away with it for one simple reason. His dad's in charge. And as for that boy that warned me on my first day, yeah, turns out he's called Ellis. I can't quite work him out, even though he often hangs out with Eric and participates in his meaningless dumb pranks. One time, after Eric knocked a younger kid over, I saw Ellis go back and check he was okay. Friend or foe? Who knows? Today we have Taekwondo class. Perfect. I quickly challenged a smug-looking Eric. Too bad he doesn't know I have a black belt. Ha! And as I predicted, I kicked his butt in just 3 moves.
K.O.
I walked over to my two fellows with a big triumphant smile on my face when Henry suddenly rushed forward and pushed Eric down. Turns out he was sneaking up on me from behind. Nice try, coward. But sorry, dude. We 3 always have each other's back. We were laughing about Eric's defeat when the lunch bell went. But, oh no, the room was locked from the outside.
Eric has to be behind this.
No worries. The food here sucks anyway, Tom said while pulling a bunch of food out from under his bed.
Again, Tom? You've already been punished twice this week for sneaking food in here.
Suddenly there were noises outside. I went closer to the door to listen when it burst open, and in stepped an officer. I stepped into the corridor to see everybody was gathered around whispering, while Eric was on the ground, looking pale like he'd just seen a ghost. Oh my god. The door of room P01, Eric's room, had weird scratches all over it.
It looks like those scratches spell out a word. Jacob. So there's a monster named Jacob. Well, that's comforting. P02! You all missed lunch, so I want 5 laps around the yard. And also 5 points are deducted for bringing in outside food.
Ugh. Points deducted again? At this rate, we'd never gain access to the entertainment room. Oh, here we keep scores between rooms. just like in Harry Potter with the house's points. It's quite a competition. At the end of the week, the room with the highest score gets access to the entertainment room. You know, watching TV or using social media are considered a huge reward in this strict school, but it's hard to earn points. Meanwhile, you can get them deducted for any reason. For me taking a shower at the wrong time, to Henry skipping theory lessons, and now Tom and his snacks. Ugh!
What does Jacob mean? Anyway, seeing Eric freak out like that was hilarious.
Jacob is a name. Don't you see that, Jack? He's Eric's ex-roommate. I heard that he's missing.
Hey, Tom, is there anything you don't know?
I see. But why did that missing Jacob scare Eric so much?
We're never going to get into the entertainment room. It's all work, work, work in this place. Who cares about that stupid room? This weekend, there's a prom at the local girls' school. I have a step-by-step plan for us. We'll sneak into the school milk delivery truck to get there. Then I can finally talk to some lovely girls instead of those aunties in the kitchen.
That sounds good. Hey, maybe you'll even find your first love there, right, Jack? Huh, they had no idea. Anyway, the thought of getting out of school for a bit was appealing. That weekend, Henry stole some of the gardener's casual clothes, and then we hid in the milk delivery truck to attend the prom. As soon as we got there, Henry had already got himself all smitten with a cute blonde, while Tom spent all his time debating World War II with a girl majoring in world history. As for me, I really enjoyed all those tasty cupcakes. But why wouldn't the girls quit pestering me? I guess it proves that I look quite manly, right?
We gotta go. The bus to our school is about to come. Change to your uniform. You have 1 minute.
I quickly got changed, then ran after them so fast, I bumped into someone, and we both fell to the ground. I was in such a rush that I could only say sorry, pick up my dog tag, and run out into the road to catch the bus back to school.
Where did you guys just get back from? They just helped clean up the cafeteria, sir. I just got back from there.
Hearing this, the officer stopped questioning us. But, huh? Why did Ellis help us? Isn't he meant to be on Eric's side? While indulging in thoughts about it, I took out the dog tag from my pocket and was about to put it around my neck. But wait, it's not mine.
Look, guys, this dog tag has the name Jacob on it.
I quickly showed them the dog tag and explained the incident to them. I must have picked up that guy's tag by mistake. Could it belong to the missing Jacob? Or was it merely coincidence? I mean, Jacob's a popular name, right? The next day, as we were helping to distribute food in the kitchen, there were noises coming from the dining area. As soon as I went out, I saw Eric sitting on the floor, shivering in fear. Next to him was his bowl of soup splattered everywhere. At first, I thought he was playing some tricks to get us to clean up. But no, looking at the way he ran out of the cafeteria in panic, something must have happened. I bent down to pick up the bowl. Oh my God. And it was a dog tag with Jacob's name on it. But the dog tag I took by mistake yesterday is still in my pocket. What's going on? Eric was so preoccupied with the Jacob stuff, he didn't have time to taunt us, so our room got the highest score for the first time, which means we would finally get to experience the entertainment room. But as soon as we reached the lobby of the utility area, something didn't feel right. A bunch of kids were buzzing in front of the entertainment room where the hazy smoke was coming from. Thinking there was a fire, we rushed to put it out. But no, it was only a smoke bomb. Inside the entertainment room, Eric and his friends were fainting. People splashed water on his face, but as soon as he woke up and saw the words Jacob burned black on the wall, he blacked out again. Huh? Who did this? Was it Jacob? Was he not missing after all? Today we have PE, but I'm on my period, so I made up an excuse to go to the school's infirmary instead. On the way, I happened to see Eric with his group of friends.
I think Jacob's spirit is back to take revenge on me. You know, that time, I locked him in the old warehouse and he just disappeared without a trace since then. Is it possible that he was...
Stop talking nonsense. Maybe someone who knows what happened in the past wants to mess with you.
I even took his clothes away. Oh God, he would surely want to haunt me.
Oh my gosh, it all made sense now. Suddenly a large hand muffled me, then dragged me away.
You better shut your mouth and keep this a secret.
It was Ellis, Eric's sidekick. What a faithful servant.
What if I don't? Especially since I met Jacob. What did you just say? You don't believe it? Here, I bumped into someone, and he dropped this dog tag. As for the one in Eric's soup bowl, I think it's just a fake.
Ellis trembled as he took the tag from my hand and quickly left. Was he going to snitch on Eric or something? That night, while I was having dinner, Eric was back to jerk mode again, and he dumped his leftovers on my tray. The two sides clashed, and we all ended up with an hour's detention. The punishment sucked. They locked each of us in a tiny room containing one chair and left us to think about our wrongdoings for a whole hour. The next morning, the officer knocking on the door woke us up. Eric was missing, and we were the #1 suspects. This was ridiculous. What did his disappearance have to do with us? I told Henry and Tom about the other day when I overheard Eric and his friends. So Eric teased Jacob, so now he'd returned for vengeance? Feeling suspicious, we snuck into the school's abandoned warehouse. Yup, there was Eric all tied up and with a rag in his mouth.
It's Jacob! His spirit has returned! He wants to harm me! Help me!
Huh! Look at that arrogant Eric being all scaredy-cat.
Call me Captain. No. Call me Farther. Then I'll let you go.
Tom and Henry burst out laughing. But Eric just stammered and then everything started to go blurry. Then I must have blacked out. When the three of us groggily came round, we saw that the only thing left there of Eric's was his uniform. As soon as we got back to school, we heard from the others about how Eric had appeared in just his tighty-whitey. Everyone gloated to see the overbearing Eric lose his face. From now on, he wouldn't dare tease anyone again. But this was the exact same way Eric used to pick on Jacob. So, Jacob did this? Was he back? Actually, I already knew who was behind all this.
You dropped this at the warehouse, right?
Ellis looked at me surprised and asked how I knew. We actually snuck into the main office to find information about Jacob before we got to the warehouse. And as soon as I saw his picture, I knew right away there was some sort of close connection between Ellis and Jacob. Call it twin senses. It turns out that Jacob was Ellis's brother. During his time at this school, Eric made his life a misery. But everything was kept a secret because Eric's the principal's son. So, Ellis enrolled at this school to get answers. Ellis took the dog tag back and handed over a picture of me with my twin brother.
And this must be yours. I picked it up on the first day of school when you dropped your backpack. You remember?
Oh my God. Was this for real? I snatched the photo and quickly put it away when I saw an officer approaching.
We should get to know each other better, right? Since we both know each other's secrets.
Whatever. Anyway, I don't hate Ellis, and Eric deserved it, so it didn't matter who did that. I turned my head to look at Ellis. He smiled as if he was challenging me. Uh-oh. I had a feeling my life here was about to take a turbulent turn.
I'd only just arrived at school, yet I could tell something was up. Dude, what's with all the fuss? Did Carl do something crazy again? Look at this. Jeez, gross. Sorry, wrong direction. This way. Here you go, Miss Stewart, the new principal of our school. In front of me was a stern-looking woman who exuded a terrifying aura. Ooh. Well, that was unexpected, as we all assumed that Mr. Smith would take the lead because he'd been serving as school vice principal for pretty much forever. Suddenly, everyone's phone vibrated. Why the stern face? She looks so angry at the world. Is she allergic to our skin? Every skirt is too short, LOL. No dance party this year? Unbelievable. Is she a principal or a jailer? Warning you guys, she knows our secret smoking place. Jeez, look at all those faces pinned to their mobile phones. The gossip mongers. Over the next few days, rumors about our new principal seem to be everywhere. Info about her seemed more sought after than Imagine Dragons tickets. Also, from day one of the principal's arrival here, a series of bizarre stories began to circulate. One day I was walking into class and heard the most ridiculous story in the world. My school was haunted. Idiots. I quietly crept under the table, then suddenly poked my head up and shouted, "Boo!" which caused all my friends to jump in fear. Haha, losers. All that spook stuff is nonsense. You don't believe it, huh? Yet Stacy saw it. Oh no. Stacy? I didn't know they dragged my crush into all these silly gossip things. She's usually a smart girl. Not sure what had gotten into her. After that, Stacy lowered her voice and started talking passionately about her chance encounter with a silhouette that appeared in front of the principal's office. But worst of all, before she could get a closer look at it, it vanished. It was probably just the security guard. Nah, when I left, I still saw him dozing off in his room. He even checked the camera and saw Stacy just standing and saying hello, even though nobody was there. Creepy, right? Then the story went further, when someone claimed that the new principal was a witch and was bringing evil forces to the school. Oh my God, Stacy. I needed to pull her out of this mess of nonsense right now. But no matter what I said, she insisted. I saw it with my own eyes. What if she really is capable of dark magic? Oh, come on. We're not kids anymore, Stace. Evil forces, witches, demons, they aren't real. But it's you who might get in trouble when the principal starts investigating who's spreading the rumor. Josh, it's driving me crazy. I need to confirm what I saw. But I'm scared. Can you come with me, please? I hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Okay, back gate, 10 p.m. tonight. Let's just get it over with. Plus, it'd be a great chance to impress my crush, isn't it? That night, I arrived at our meeting point early and waited around. It was freezing, and not gonna lie, I got goosebumps. Okay, calm down, Josh. Ghosts were just tricks of the mind, and it's time to show my future girlfriend how tough I am. As I was deep in my thoughts, a hand suddenly touched my shoulder. Jesus, Stacy! Do you know what time it is? Oh, sorry, I'm a bit late. Did I scare you? Of course not. Let's get inside and end this obsession of yours. But how are we supposed to get in? Stacy pointed at a big hole in the school's fence that was hidden by a bush. We then carefully sneaked through it and successfully avoided the security guard. Piece of cake. Inside, the whole school corridor was pitch black, and the streetlight shone from the glass windows. The scenario looked pretty much like a horror movie, but there was nothing to fear, right? I used a flashlight to guide Stacy to the principal's office, when suddenly a loud screech sound made my heart want to stop. Stacy clung to me in fear. Relax, I think it's just the sound of the speakers crackling. Are you scared, Stace? No, let's just go. But then, as soon as the noise stopped, another creepy sound started up. Footsteps. Had the security guard spotted the two of us already? I turned around and there was nothing but an empty space. Just like that, we continued walking, and they walked too. And when we stopped, they stopped. Then as soon as the footsteps began to rush towards us, I grabbed Stacy's hand and ran as fast as I could to the principal's office and slammed shut the door. Listen, Stacy, the footsteps were probably from the security guard. You see, clearly, we're the only ones here, so stop believing in these things, okay? I just finished talking when suddenly the door burst open, and I could see a motionless figure standing there. That's him! Holy mother, I was so scared that I closed my eyes and grabbed onto Stacy. Then when I opened my eyes, the shadow was moving towards us. Terrified, I rushed to the door to escape and, bang, both me and the ghost fell. Mike, are you okay? Mike? The three of us sat awkwardly on the sidewalk outside the school. I didn't need the chilly wind to make my heart feel frozen. As it turned out, Stacy already had a boyfriend, and that boyfriend was none other than Mike, my best friend. Ugh, so much for me wasting my time playing hero. And if you're wondering why Mike was here, the answer was to help Stacy put on this phantom play. That's right. Both the crackling and the footstep sounds were all made by him. Hang on, why did she make up this ghost story thing? Even prepared a whole play for me and the others to acknowledge it? Stacy explained that it was only because the new principal was too harsh, creating strict rules and making it difficult for the students. Huh? But I don't think any of these rules affect her much. I mean, Stacy had always been a model student anyway. So why did she have to take it to this extent? I asked, but Stacy just ignored me and asked me to keep it a secret. In the following days, people kept questioning me on my late-night expedition. At first, I just kept quiet because I didn't want to get involved in annoying gossip and to be reminded of how my best friend turned out to be my love rival. However, rumors about the haunted school spread quickly and reached the press, Fear swallowed the school. A few students even transferred to another one because they were so scared. Although I wasn't a fan of the new principal's strict rules, what Stacy did had gone too far. One day, I was about to find her to figure this out when I saw her walking alone down the exit stairs. "Stacy, I know you're the principal's daughter and the admin of the spooky group chat that has been on the rise recently." "What? Stacy's the principal's daughter? Unbelievable." "And wasn't that person Mr. Smith, the vice principal?" "Perhaps we're after one same thing. Don't you want your mom to work elsewhere too? Right? But your method doesn't seem to be working so well." "So what do you suggest?" "There is an easier way, that is, hand me your mother's seal. I will take care of this." "That's too dangerous. How can I trust you?" "Now that we're on the same boat, you probably don't want your mother to know what you've done behind your back, do you?" As soon as Mr. Smith left, I immediately ran to Stacy. "No, you can't do that. You don't even know him personally. Be careful." But Stacy insisted on doing it on her own. She said that since her father passed away, she'd grown tired of her mother's rules. School was the only place she used to feel free. But now, that also been ruined for her. "I can't live 24/7 under my mother's containment. Do you understand?" Well, it's true that being a teacher's child must be stressful enough already. Not to mention being the child of a strict principal. That would surely be even more exhausting. But conspiring with Mr. Smith was a step too far, right? And what will be, will be. A few days later, a ton of messages regarding the principal faking test scores to improve the school's ranking broke out. And of course, she would be subject to disciplinary procedures and may have to quit her job forever for violating professional ethics. I looked over at Stacy. Her face darkened and suddenly she darted out of the classroom. I chased after her and looked everywhere for her, but she was nowhere to be found, until I heard a sobbing sound coming from the abandoned canteen. Thank goodness, there she was. Seeing me, Stacy burst into tears and poured her heart out. She could not have foreseen the consequences of her actions, and naively let Mr. Smith take advantage of her and created all this. "Stace, I think it's best to tell your mom the truth. There's still time to fix this, quick, before it's too late." She wiped her tears and gave me a hug, then agreed to go find her mom. "Mom, I'm sorry. I started the rumors and I conspired with Mr. Smith to help ruin your career." I thought the principal was going to go ballistic, but then to my surprise, she came forward and pulled Stacy into her arms. "I know things have been tough since your father was no longer with us. I've just been so worried about you making the wrong choices and going down the wrong path that I started to be stricter on you. I love you. I never meant to put this much pressure on you. I'm sorry. Please forgive Stacy. She never meant to hurt you, and she feels terrible about it." "Everything's fine. Thank you very much, Josh, for telling me about this." "Huh? You already know everything?" "Yeah. I was so worried that you would be taken advantage of, so I told her about the conversation you had with the vice principal. As for the rumor that the principal had to quit her job, it was me who spread it. I mean, that's how Stacy realized what she did was outrageous and could have big consequences, right?" Although her mom forgave her, Stacy was still nervous because she'd given Mr. Smith her mother's seal. "It's okay, dear. What you did accidentally helped me to get evidence of his embezzlement by impersonating me. His misconduct will soon be handled. It's all good now. My work here was done. I fixed things with Stacy and her mom. But most importantly of all, I proved that the school's not haunted." "So what's next?" Well, Stacy must have been so moved by my heroic actions and started developing feelings for me. As she broke up with Mike, not long after that, then asked me out. But he's my best friend, and there's no way I'm making him sad over a girl, so I turned her down. Besides, her mischievous side is kind of terrifying. Girls are dangerous.
Do you know what it feels like to live in a splendidly luxurious castle, wearing extravagant dresses, indulging in exquisite dishes, and always having servants take care of you? Well, actually, I don't really know either. I'm just a little maid who's fortunate enough to be friends with Princess Anne. Oh, by the way, my name is Diana, and I was born in the palace of a small European kingdom. Sounds like a fairy tale, doesn't it? Well, I don't exactly live a fairy tale life. I'm only here because of my mother, Stella. She had devoted her entire life to serve the queen, so in return, I was allowed to live in the castle. And when I grew up, I became a servant to Princess Anne, who was just a few ages older than me, so we immediately hit it off. Ironically, though, I'm not quite cut out to be a servant. I'm a bit, maybe very clumsy, and I tend to be less helpful than I actually should. When all is quiet, it's likely that I've just hidden myself away in the library, lost in its endless sea of books. It would be more fun if Anne was just as happy to spend time in the library as me, but she doesn't care much for reading or studying. She said it makes you age like crazy. But still, she must attend her mandatory classes, by the Queen's order, of course, although she'd much better enjoy cooking, cleaning, and decorating. So whenever there weren't ice on us, Anne and I would help each other out. I would sneak into her classes, listen to the tutor attentively so I could help her with assignments later. In return, she'd help me with the palace's errands. Anne was how I imagined having a sister is like. We just got each other's back. I knew the real Anne. I supported her passion for baking even when her own mother forbade her, and I was the only one who knew about her big crush on Count Harold, who often came bearing tributes from the people. Anne was so kind that she always gave me plenty of good food to share with Mom and other maids. But Mom wasn't too thrilled about this. For some reason, she was always anxious seeing how close me and Anne were.
Don't forget your place, Diana. Princess Anne is still royalty, and you're just a little maid. Be sure you never cross the line with her.
She's just trying to help us, Mom. Don't worry, I'll be careful. Then one day, Anne found a beautiful vintage dress from her closet and convinced me to try it on. I agreed, and once I stepped out of the changing screen, Anne was amazed. See, you'd make such a gorgeous princess. Did I ever tell you you remind me so much of my aunt, the late Queen Mary? I don't have much memories of her, but I've seen her picture in the royal family tree, and you very much share the same aura with her. I wish, Anne, but if I were a princess, I would have people do whatever I want. Like, fetch me my robe, servant, and when you're finished, my toes could use a salt bath. We were just messing around when Mom came storming in.
Diana, how dare you desecrate the princess? I told you not to cross the...
She didn't finish her words, but fell to the ground, holding her chest in pain. I rushed over to her as Anne ran to the hallway looking for help. Mom!
Diana, I need to tell you something.
No, Mom, save your strength. The doctor will be here any minute now.
No, Diana, you listen to me. I've been hiding the truth from you your entire life. It's time you learn.
What? What do you mean?
I'm not your birth mother, Diana. Just find my safe, okay? The answers are there. And don't tell anyone.
She took one last breath before closing her eyes. The doctors rushed in, but it was too late. She had a heart attack with a pre-existing heart condition, so she didn't stand a chance. I spent the next week doing nothing except grieving my mother's passing. It didn't even bother me that we were not genetically tied. In my eyes, Stella was my mother, the only family I had. She loved and cared for me more than anyone else ever could. It hurt to even be here in her room, feeling her presence surrounding this place. But as I was going through her stuff, I accidentally stepped on a section of the floor that sounded hollow. It immediately sprung open, revealing a secret cellar underneath. The first thing I noticed was an intricate key-shaped necklace. Next to it was a letter, unveiling that this was an heirloom from my birth mother, who was none other than Queen Mary herself. Even more shockingly, she was still alive. On the day I was born, by Miranda's order, I was separated from Queen Mary, and she was held captive in the castle's dungeon. If it weren't for her pleading Miranda not to harm me, I might have been thrown into some orphanage far away. Instead, I was placed in Stella's care, as Miranda wanted to keep a close eye on me to prevent any chance of betrayal. Stella had regretted following Miranda's order ever since, as she grew to love me like her true daughter. She wanted to run away with me, but the thought of Miranda finding out and putting her family in danger stopped her. But she'd hoped that one day I'd be reunited with my mother. None of this felt real. My hands were still shaking as I held the letter. I need the answer to all my questions. I owed it to my mother to fulfill her dying wish. That night, following the instructions my mother left in her letter, I pretended to be a maid bringing food to prisoners and went down the secret tunnel. There were no guards in the large abandoned prison, only a thin, emaciated woman. Slowly and carefully, I approached her. "Are you Queen Mary?" I handed her the necklace. The woman's eyes lit up, and she looked up at me in shock, tears welling in her eyes. "Diana." I nodded. She pulled me into her arms and cried in joy. But then she abruptly pulled away from me. "What are you doing down here? Miranda is going to find out. It's too dangerous. You need to leave." "It's okay. No one knows I'm here. They won't find me." "Still, it's too risky. My sister is an evil woman. She always wanted to be the queen. So she picked the day I was at my weakest to imprison me, subdue you, and falsely declared my demise during childbirth. That's how she eliminates any obstacles that stop her from seizing the kingdom. But Miranda will never be the queen in people's heart. She's nothing more than an oppressor, and it pains me to know she has corrupted our kingdom. But you are here now, Diana. You're the true heir to the throne. You have to stop Miranda." "Me? I still haven't dared to believe any of this is real. I grew up just a little maid who's never been formally educated. What can I possibly do to overthrow someone in control of an entire country?" "Diana, I'm sorry I couldn't give you a better childhood, but I know, deep inside, you are a strong, resilient girl. Stella told me all the time how smart and bright you are, as she brought me food. Me and her both believed in you. You have the power to make things right." My mind was still swirling with all this new information. Things that just seemed impossible, unbelievable. "I understand why you might be doubtful, but here, leave the palace and test your DNA against mine. Once you confirm your identity, you can decide what to do next, but you can't stay inside the castle any longer. 'Cause once Miranda finds out you know the truth, she won't leave you alone." I hesitated for a moment, but I knew what needed to be done. So, early in the morning, I packed up some belongings and grabbed some food before sneaking into a freight truck that was about to leave. But then I suddenly bumped into someone. "Hey, watch where you're going!" "Shh! Keep it down!" "Why? Don't tell me you're some kind of thief." "No, I'm a maid. I'm just not allowed to go outside the palace. But, the princess desperately wants to make a Dutch chocolate cake, and the storage is out of ingredients, so I need to go to market." "And did you plan to sneak into my truck and have a free ride there?" "I didn't know it was your truck, but if you can help me, that would be lovely." "And what would I get in return?" "My company." "Fair enough. It's a lonely ride. By the way, what's your name?" "Diana. What's yours?" People call me Harry. Now let's get going." We hopped into the truck, and Harry turned out to be not such a bad companion. It was nice to have someone else my age to talk to for once, especially a handsome one. Then he turned on this music that's called pop. I swear, it was so good, I couldn't help grooving along. "This song is my favorite. Do you know it?" "Nope. The Queen doesn't even allow us to own a radio." "Oh, wow. Maybe I can sneak one in for you." I would absolutely love that. After a while of driving, we took a break in the forest to stretch our legs. I shared with Harry some cookies Anne baked earlier today, when suddenly a snake coiled around the lower part of my leg and sunk its teeth into it. Pain immediately shot up. Moments later, Harry dislodged the snake and threw it away. Then he leaned over, sucking the venom out of my wound without hesitation. I blushed, both confused and flattered. He grabbed some clean cloths in the truck and helped me bandage the wound. I'm sorry, that was weird." No, that was kind of you. And I really hate to say this, but I don't think the snake is poisonous. I read about it in a book once, but still, thank you for saving me." His face turned bright red even for minutes later. It was so cute. We then continued our journey. When we arrived in an aristocratic area where people seemed to be living in luxury, I began to doubt that the kingdom was as poor and in bad shape as Queen Mary had said, until we arrived at the commoner community. I was taken aback by the small buildings and houses that were old and crumbling. The market was basically desolate, with only a couple of sellers in sight. I couldn't even find any baking supplies there. It was growing dark, so Harry asked if I wanted to crash at his place. I had nowhere else to go, so I agreed. Harry's house was shockingly small, but it was clean and cozy. His father is a doctor, and his mom takes care of his 3-year-old sister. They kindly welcomed me and invited me to have dinner with them. Although it was frugal, to say the least, and I could tell that everyone was still hungry after the meal. I have a loaf of bread in my pack. I'd love to share it with you all if that's okay, to thank you for your hospitality. Harry's mother smiled and nodded, and his little sister squealed in delight as she dug into the loaf of bread. Since the famine began, everyone has suffered, even the ones with good jobs. We've all needed to tighten our belts a bit. Just then, a loud thumping sounded at the front door.
Open this door now, or we will kick it down!
As Harry and his parents rushed to the door, I hid in another room, afraid that I would be recognized. The guards were there, demanding tax payment, or else the family would be removed from their home. It hurt me to watch them fork over the money, searching their pockets to count every last coin they had. That night, I tossed and turned. I couldn't stop thinking about how Queen Miranda could oppress her own people to this point. I was flooded with guilt, thinking about how gleefully Anne and I would share the tributes taken from these poor people, unaware that they were suffering and starving. I couldn't stay in bed any longer. I crept out into the hallway and down the stairs, and suddenly spotted Harry's father, reading a book under a lamplight. I'm sorry to disturb you.
No worries. Anything I could help you with?
I actually do need your help. You see, I left the palace because I wanted to confirm something. If you could please compare my DNA to this person believes she's my birth mother.
Sure. It might take a couple of days.
That's fine, but please do not tell anyone about this. He looked confused, like he wanted to ask more questions, but seeing how reserved I was, he didn't. The next morning, I helped Harry and his mother clean up the houses of other people who couldn't pay the tax last night. The guards had ransacked a number of homes looking for the money, and now they were left starving and penniless. It couldn't go on like this. I need to find a way to feed the people first. So I came up with the idea of hunting some wild animals in the forest for food. Then I instructed each household to build a hidden cellar under the ground to store their food and keep their properties to themselves. I was so focused on the dire situation that I didn't even have time to worry about the DNA results until I received them that evening.
The result shows that you and the other person are indeed related.
I see.
It also shows that the other DNA belongs to the late Queen Mary. May I know how this is possible?
It's because Queen Mary is still alive. And if the result is true, that means I really am her daughter. At that moment, Harry unexpectedly entered the room, jaw dropped.
You're what?
Hi, it's your girl Miley again. Let's get on with Scarlett's life story, which was left on a cliffhanging slap. Watch your tongue. Regardless, we won't be working together. That's final. Tell me, are you scared people will figure out that I'm your daughter? Right, you never even came to see my frail, bedridden father. I never needed a mother like you anyway. Then a smack landed on Scarlett's face. She held her left cheek, eyes wide open, and glared at the person standing in front of her with great fury. Scarlett immediately began venting to Naomi as soon as she got home. No way, this is bad. Without a management company, it's really hard to maintain your popularity. I could not care any less. But obviously, Scarlett cared a lot. I've put so much effort into this, and now it's all going down the drain? Meanwhile, Naomi was more relieved than sorry. What now? I won't tell you what you want to hear. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and you're too young to have enough willpower for it. That describes my sister, don't you think? What's wrong? Talk to me. I can't take this anymore. She is vicious. She doesn't give a flying crap that I beat myself up trying and orders me around like a puppet. This is draining me day by day. I'm exhausted. When the video ended, Athena stayed quiet for a bit, then asked Naomi to leave. What about me? I'll think about it. So Naomi returned home and awaited Athena's call, but days had gone by and not a single word from her mother, not even when Scarlett got kicked out. After that fierce fight, Scarlett had to move into this shabby motel. Sheesh, where did she go? She might be mad at me, but she can't lash out like this. This woman has the audacity to call me after all that? Ugh, who needs Athena and her company? I can do this myself. Yahtzee! There's still one event I got invited to. That's my chance! Of course, she asked Naomi to help and be her +1, who happily agreed. But without the usual professional team, it took the girls too long to get ready, so they missed the red carpet ceremony of the fashion show. Luckily, Scarlett could still start networking at the after-party. However, her social battery was draining fast, since she didn't know anyone here. Her eyes were darting around nervously, while Naomi ran about with a little kid's excitement. That body of yours is absurd, and even more mind-blowing up close. Have a drink with me, would you? No thanks. My date is getting my drink. Sorry. What? You think you ate? And nobody like you is lucky to even have my attention. Excuse me, is this guy bothering you? No, actually, yes. What took you so long, baby?
Sorry, babe. There was a long line. Phew. Their charade worked like a charm, and because of that, our shy girl got to know this gentleman. He's Finn, an art director / princess maker at Creative Artists Agency. Going independent is really tough, especially for newcomers. If you work with us, you'll have more options to your liking. I mean, it's your personal brand.
For real, though? Ahem. Finn, this is my sister Naomi. Say hi, Naomi.
Nice to meet you two.
From that day on, Scarlett had been under Finn's management. He's so gentle and such a smooth talker, but when it comes to work, Finn can be pretty harsh.
No, this whole fit makes you 5 feet tall, and that top's from last year's collection. Try to keep up.
But how? I literally have to dive into multiple piles just to find something that isn't a size 0.
You might think a personal stylist could make this easier, but your audience can sense that it's not authentically you, and it'll just be much harder for you to build rapport. I can see you have quite a personality. You just don't know how to show it through your style yet.
All right, that's actually really profound. I never thought about this stuff that way.
Stuff? So, what got you into this?
That prompted Scarlett to tell him everything. Surprisingly, that guy seemed like a good listener.
That is some story. Still, you managed to build a following mostly thanks to your genuine charm. I believe I can teach you more about this stuff and make you fall in love. With real fashion, I mean.
And here I thought he was gonna judge me. Ever since she had a handsome, patient trainer guiding her every step, Scarlett gradually gained more respect and interest for what she was doing. Their relationship eventually became more intimate and went beyond the professional boundary. It looked like they knew each other in their past lives.
Here, one tasty reward for you.
Yes! Oh, hang on. I'm on a diet.
Consider today your cheat day. Something to keep you motivated. Come on, an ice cream won't put you in a food coma.
You're right. Oh, sorry.
You're such a klutz.
It was smooth sailing for Scarlett. One day out of the blue, a mukbanger appeared on her For You page. And that's Naomi. How long has this been going on? Why didn't you tell me? Who are you working with? None of your business. Excuse me? I didn't say anything. I was gonna say, eating a humongous amount of food like that can be bad. Maybe you're against this because you're afraid I'll take all your spotlight. Ain't that right? No use talking to her right now. Perhaps I can ask Finn for advice.
To her utmost surprise, Scarlett saw that Naomi was with Finn. In the long run, you'll either develop a terrible eating habit, or worse, an eating disorder. This is your one and only body. Take good care of it.
Everything's going as planned. Don't worry. I won't get fat no matter how much I eat.
Stay calm, Scarlett. Don't barge in and interrogate them.
No! Finn, I can't believe you brought Naomi down that road. I asked him to. Interfere again and we're no longer sisters. Those traitors thought they're so smooth. Fine, let the Cold War begin.
On the other hand, Finn tried to make amends, but to no avail. I didn't have the chance to explain myself. Scarlett's emotional state took a nosedive, while Naomi's mukbang channel blew up. Needless to say, she was absolutely delighted.
See, I am on Scarlett's level. I already got millions of hearts and a dedicated fan base.
Little did Naomi know, praise is often followed by criticism and haters.
Look at this pufferfish's face.
I don't think it's because she's stuffing her face constantly. Girl just got played by genetics.
Girls, be nice. Why are you defending that ugly glutton? That's my sister. Problem much? I can't sit still and let her do this to herself. But who could possibly get to her? Definitely not me.
In the evening, Scarlett saw that she had hundreds of missed calls, all from Athena.
What does she want now? We already went our separate ways.
However, that prompted Athena to come see her, at her place. Please, don't make a scene. I'm here to talk.
You are making a scene showing up here. What do you want?
It's about Naomi. I am worried about her. That finally convinced Scarlett to have a talk with Athena, which led them to an unexpectedly long discussion about their family. I'm not asking for your sympathy, but you should know how we cut ties. Your dad and I are polar opposites. I wanted the hustle and bustle in life, but your dad wanted a peaceful life in the country. I did try to raise a family with him back there. God knows I tried. But that ain't me. So, when I left, your dad was so angry he banned me from ever returning. Don't you dare bring that face here one more time! Leave us alone! Since then, I could only watch you two from afar.
If it makes you feel any better, he took care of us very well. He's a family man, always has been, and Naomi, I soon realized that she's my spitting image. Impulsive, chipper, yet naive. I didn't want her to be in show business, especially this young, or else she'd make the same mistake I did. That's why you were my pick. I never intended for us to fall out. I truly wanted a wealthy life for you, and I thought I could train you into a star like I did every other girl. So when I heard you say how exhausted and trapped you felt living with me, I decided to end it as well as your suffering. What? When did I tell you that? Actually, Naomi told me. You're not supposed to know this. Oh, turns out her action that day was triggered by Naomi. Did my sister do that because she was looking out for me and simply thought I wouldn't tell Mom myself? Or was there any hidden motive? I'll have to find out myself. If we didn't have this heart-to-heart today, our feud might go on forever. Come to think of it, her iciness could have been the product of the cold, harsh show business. Their mother-daughter talk went on till dawn. Scarlett also told her that she hated this job at first, but slowly warmed up to it, and now wanted to commit to it, which made Athena really happy. At the same time, Naomi's videos gained more viewership as well as so many hate comments she couldn't ignore. Anyone reading such remarks about themselves would more or less be upset. Sensitive Naomi got a panic attack. Right at that moment, Scarlett stepped into her room, realized what was happening, and hurried over to catch Naomi. Then she put her in a fetal position. A few minutes later, Naomi calmed down. Feeling any better? Yes, I can breathe normally now. Thank you. Then stop your monkey business this instant! I talked to Mum. She said you're not ready to be an influencer, and I agree with her. Do you have anything to say for yourself? Mom doesn't know me. She didn't raise me or help me become famous, and now she's getting you on her side to go against me? I thought the same, until we spoke. We misunderstood her, Naomi. And you, still worried about me stealing your thunder? We'll see who's more famous and rich. I've had enough of you. Naomi's reaction was so scary. Scarlett couldn't believe this person was her sister. When Naomi stormed off, she didn't have the strength to go after her either. Was I too much? No, absolutely not. She deserved it for what she did. Scarlett can never understand what it's always like to feel inferior, less important, or constantly trying to escape her shadow. As Scarlett was having a migraine because of her sister, she suddenly received Finn's message, which was asking to see her that evening. He told her to come to this cafe. Although Scarlett was still mad at Finn, she wanted to hear him out, seeing how urgent his texts were. It's Naomi. She's resorting to problematic measures to avoid weight gain. Her staff said that she always tries to purge in the bathroom after shooting each video, so I kept an eye on her, and also saw her starving herself for days before going on camera, or drinking slimming tea. I got worried but can't do much about it cause, well, I'm not her manager anymore. I saw her this afternoon, but she won't listen to me now. Have you tried talking to her? I haven't been able to get a hold of her since this morning. Ugh! Scarlett, I'm so sorry. I wanted to help Naomi because I saw her passion burn so bright. So I hooked her up with the right people and such. And mostly because I wanted you to never mind. Meanwhile, Naomi was somewhere no one could find her. She curled into a ball, eyes glued to her phone. I'm such a big fat loser. Right then, Scarlett's phone got a text message. It's from Naomi. Scarlett's face darkened as she read it. I'm doing fine, but I need some time for myself, so I'll be away for a while. Don't look for me. At this point, we should put aside our differences and search for Naomi together. Both Finn and Scarlett looked everywhere, but found no info on Naomi's whereabouts. It's like she vanished into thin air or used Ninja's technique to hide herself. Also, Scarlett was really busy fulfilling her duties as a model. This is so weird. Naomi can't go a day without updating her story, but it's been days without anything new on all of her socials. All right, you're a little pale lately, Scarlett. It's one thing to worry about Naomi, but take care of yourself, okay? Like you care? Of course I do. You are my sole focus now. Don't just push me away. Aw, who can stay mad at someone this sweet? Since Scarlett and Finn resumed their collaboration, her popularity soared. However, they made no progress in finding Naomi, which upset Scarlett. Even though she's surrounded by fancy material stuff, she wasn't truly at ease. All of a sudden, #CancelScarlett became #1 on Twitter's trending page. Then multiple screenshots of seriously problematic tweets that are supposedly from Scarlett's account surfaced, causing more public backlash. Obviously, she got boycotted, which led to her follower count plummeting and her losing contracts with multiple brands. Despite the company's effort to clear everything up, the damage was done. The fact that those photos were fake couldn't stop keyboard warriors from attacking her, and Scarlett had to face horrible insults on a daily basis. So, all this time, Naomi had to deal with this kind of stuff? That must have been mentally excruciating, especially since she couldn't share with anyone. And I even reprimanded her. Naomi, where are you now? I'll definitely find out who's behind all of that. Cyberbullies must pay. You all think you can hide behind your screen and spit out whatever filthy words you know to bring down people with a reputation to uphold. You picked the wrong targets this time. It wasn't easy, but thanks to the company's resources, Scarlett's team managed to track down everyone who ever made hate comments against the sisters and brought them to the police. But when Scarlett came down to the station and saw the lineup, an astonishing sight welcomed her. One of them was Naomi. Hey, what's the matter with you? Don't think you're better because you help everyone you see.
Oh, so now we're being honest? Fine, my turn. I didn't listen to what everyone said about you and still became your friend. Turns out they're all right after all. Like father, like daughter.
What are you talking about? You knew everything?
Yeah, I'm not dumb, and that's not all. Now I finally believe my dad died in that fire because of your dad's negligence.
His dad was among the victims in that fire? My feet wouldn't move, and my muscles were constricting from shock for a while before I could drag my heavy heart and crumbled thoughts to somewhere else. I'm sorry about his dad, but I'm in pain too. It's not just because the boy I like was cruel to me, but also because, as it turns out, he's no different from everyone else. Devastated, I unknowingly brought myself to the gymnasium. Wait, my self-defense club? They're still practicing? Wow, hard at work already. Amazing. Shut up! Why are you even here? Then their insurrection began.
Just quit already. We're not here to entertain you. Your careless, irresponsible behavior has said enough. You don't even know why we need to learn how to defend ourselves.
You never cared about us in the first place. Don't even bother pretending. Leave.
Okay, fine. I won't stay where I'm not welcome. Bye, then. Home at last. I was gonna take my frowny face straight to my room, but couldn't hide it from Dad. Sweetie, why the long face? How are you so cheery all the time? Life's beautiful, and we get to see it every day, no?
I hate it. I hate to see you get all the blame while doing nothing but good deeds. How everyone's mocking us. But above all, I hate how you always have that happy-go-lucky smile, even though people treat you like the butt of their jokes.
I hate trying to be a hero like you said, but I can't stand pretending to be weak either. I hate everything! Honey, they might think the worst of us, but that doesn't mean we have to be so pessimistic and indifferent. Then we're no better than them, aren't we? You can't change the way people see you or be anyone but yourself. Perhaps one day we might manifest something good to the universe. But first, we need to be good people.
His words actually woke up something in me. Was I wrong about everything all this time? In the following days, Aaron and I ran into each other a couple of times, but we both avoided eye contact. That one's a dead end, but a boy is not my biggest problem. Now I want to flip the script and start over. But from where? I know. But wow, everyone immediately got their torches and pitchforks ready at the sight of me. Good afternoon, y'all. What you said the other day got me thinking, and I'm sorry. I want to help, for real. Of course, only if you want me to. Come on, I'm already at the bottom. Give me a chance to go up, huh? No loss for you anyway. They seemed convinced, so I got down to business right away. What? You're already cowering? I only swung my arm. Looks like what they've been practicing wasn't working, so I decided to put them on a strength-building regimen alongside one-on-one sessions with me. On top of that, I built each member's profile detailing their weaknesses and how they should be improved. Most of us aren't tall or athletic. How about you show us how to use weapons like pocket knives, nunchucks, and axes? Seriously? Sorry, but swords are only as good as the women who wield them. You'll most likely hurt yourself if you carry those things around. So I came up with the idea of teaching them self-defense using familiar items like backpacks, pens, and heels. And this look? I actually wanted to get rid of it, but I decided to keep it up since this is what most girls wear. This should show them how to protect themselves in the most unexpected situations. Danger won't wait for you to change into appropriate attire. Besides, I'm totally serving this look. Then more students joined our club. I see geeks, nerds, goth chicks, and even popular cheerleaders. What brought them here? Hazel once mentioned that they all had a reason to learn self-defense. So I decided to sit everyone down one day. All right, no practice today. I want this club to not only empower us girls physically, but also be a safe space to, talk about ourselves and our problems. Okay, who wants to go first? I broke the ice by sharing everything that's wrong with my life, why I had such a slappable face, and all things false about my family that everybody liked to say. The girls seemed quite bewildered, then began contributing to the conversation.
Well, for me it's my mom. She got divorced recently, and now she's doing really questionable midlife crisis stuff. I mean, she can do whatever she wants, but I'm still very angry with how she's handling things. So my therapist said I should take up some physical activity to deal with my anger issue. It seems to work, so far.
I feel powerless at home too, so I thought learning how to fight would give me the strength I need to stand up against my stepdad.
Yeah, I felt helpless many times before, like whenever I reported my stalker to the police, and they said there's nothing they can do. But practicing with you guys made me feel strong and confident, no matter how brutal it can be.
Totally. With what we learned here, I felt like one day we could both reverse stalk our stalkers. Jeez. I only wanted to take advantage of these poor girls at the beginning to get out of trouble, and almost abandoned them. What was I thinking? And since then, they'd all got stronger and seemingly more confident through each lesson. Every girl had several bruises, but the brightest smiles were always on their faces. We must have looked like the happiest thugs. One day, when I was enjoying my meal, Betty came and said she wanted to have a word with me in private. I put aside our differences, but then she said this.
I'll cut to the chase. Your violent little club is getting more popular and taking away people's attention from what's truly important. My campaign.
I don't follow. We exist in completely different spaces. I have nothing to do with your campaign.
You know what I'm talking about. All that everyone cares about now is your girl fight club. I'm just concerned that you're planting seeds of violence in other students' minds. That's all.
Gosh, I don't need to explain to you, of all people, what I'm doing. If you're worried nobody cares about you anymore, maybe, just maybe, they're tired of your sob story and useless anti-bullying measures. Ugh, you're wasting my time. However, I couldn't have anticipated disaster struck right that evening.
Another person was complicit that day, but I was hesitant to point her out because I feared her retribution. But now your love and support have given me strength to do the right thing. That girl was none other than Jamie. She even blatantly lied to the principal that she had self-defense club. But they're nothing but a bunch of thugs in disguise. I am truly terrified for myself and everyone else in this school.
Members of the club were on my side. Still, most people chose to believe Betty, including the teachers. And so they shut us down. Am I on the right track after all? Or should I just return to my old, quiet life? The next day, the whole club came to comfort me.
Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
Never mind her. She already had her army of simps go to war with Team Betty. But from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. I couldn't have done anything without you guys. It's my fault the club shut down.
Jamie, we became fighters thanks to you. You're a real one.
I was walking home, feeling much better than yesterday, when I saw the last person I want to see, Betty, who's with her bullies? Betty, you okay?
Never better. See, I'm with my friends.
What? Didn't these guys beat you up?
We buried the hatchet. Friends for life, right guys?
You talk too much. What now? What's the problem?
Aaron came flying out of nowhere and pulled me out. Then they tried to pick a fight with him, but Betty prevented it. Then we walked together, no word spoken. When a thank you was on the tip of my tongue, he already went in another direction. Later that day, I found out that Betty owed money to them and almost couldn't pay them back, hence their intimidation. Now that the issue was settled, they're back to being friends. Their friendship made me cringe. I shouldn't bother myself with it since I already knew Betty wasn't all pure and innocent then. The next morning, Betty dragged me aside as soon as I came to school. Looking for your favorite scapegoat? Where are your bestie assailants? Shockingly, she wanted to apologize.
Jamie, I promise it won't happen again.
She even said that it was Aaron who told her to change her ways. Welp, it didn't matter anymore.
Pretty please, don't tell anyone about this. My parents would shave all my hair and use my shiny bald head as a mirror if they knew.
Whatever, I'm no snitch. But how long do you think you can get away with this? People's sympathy will run out one day. Are you gonna ask them for another punch to have another sob story? Then I stormed off, leaving her frozen on the spot. It's Monday, meaning I was supposed to attend club meeting, but now that we're banned, I don't have anything better to do. So bored.
Suddenly, I saw smoke rising from afar. That direction. It's the gym! I acted on instinct and ran towards it. As I approached the fire, I realized it was much bigger than I thought. Worse, I heard someone scream for help from inside. So I hit the fire alarm, but as soon as it sounded, memories of the fire in the past and my dad came rushing to me. It's keeping my feet rooted there. At this point, many people heard the alarm and came to help extinguish the fire.
What you standing there for?
Give us a hand! Ayo, did she cause this?
Out of the way! Useless!
Images of Dad's scar filled my head. I just want to explode. Is history repeating itself? Are people gonna die?
Jamie! Jamie! Jamie!
I was awoken by the calls of my friends from the club. They're helping too, but this much water and sand couldn't do much to this ever-growing fire. In a split second, I tore out a piece of my shirt, dipped it in some water, then wrapped it around my face before running straight inside the burning building as everyone else gasped at me. The black smoke covered my field of vision. I dashed further inside and showed any survivor I saw the way out. Shockingly, I found Betty, shivering and cowering. I called out her name a couple of times, but no response. Without thinking, I carried her out in my arms. As soon as we got out, I saw Aaron trying to tell me something, but I didn't hear a single word as I was fixated on looking for more survivors in there. Suddenly, fire truck sirens took me out of it and I stopped. Firefighters are here! My dad's here! They swiftly took care of the rest. But my dad's uniform caught on fire, which had to be taken off. That's when he inadvertently revealed his scarred arm. When the fire had been put out and no one was left inside, I rushed over to give my dad the biggest hug. Dad, you're all right! I finally did it! Then some townsfolk came to pick up their kids, and I saw them looking at my dad's scar with this stupid, aghast look on their faces. What are you looking at? Y'all thought a firefighter's body's flawless? This? It's what he got for trying to save you and your family in that tragic fire and all these years. He should have been praised as your hero, but instead, all he got in return is deformity and your ungrateful ass. Dad had to hold me back to stop any further colorful words from coming out of my mouth. Poof. They need to hear that. It took a while before a few people approached my dad, asked him how he was doing, and apologized for mistreating him, as well as disregarding his contribution to the town. Hey, my emotional outburst helped. After that incident, I spent a few days at home. The girls told me that Betty admitted to setting the gym on fire so she could play the victim and be the center of attention once again. Betty only contacted Aaron because she wanted him to save her specifically, but the fire was unexpectedly huge and spread like, well, wildfire. Tragically, Aaron didn't make it in time while Betty was completely unaware of other students in the gym at that time and accidentally trapped them. There's going to be dire consequences for her no matter what. That evening, I answered the door to see a familiar face.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you holding up?
I was so worried. Wait, let's go somewhere else.
I didn't take Betty's text seriously until I heard you running into the fire. Please forgive me. I'm sorry about the last time we spoke. I was so angry I said all those wrong things about you.
I'm very sorry about your dad as well.
It's okay, and my family and I should have been thanking your dad and his team. Without them, my mother wouldn't have been around now.
That's alright. I wasn't being completely honest either. The truth is, I
know. Ever since the day we fell out, I kept an eye on you still. I know that's creepy, but I just wanted to know how you're doing. Believe it or not, I secretly came to your self-defense club a couple times and saw what good deeds you're actually doing. And now, would you give me the chance to get to know the real you?
Bro, you're sure you want to know me? I've seen that you're more than willing to ditch me and help just about everyone in need, and I'm tired of that. Besides, aren't you into nice, cute, petite girls?
Says who? Is this about what I said in English class? It's just so the girls would stop. And the other thing, guess it was a bit misleading, but that's how I instinctively act to everybody because I thought it's what any good person would do. When you finally become my girlfriend, you'll get the special Aaron Taylor treatment.
That's still not my biggest achievement this school year. I got to be friends with these amazing people. And even though I'm not a true hero, I found a way to help them overcome some of their problems. Would you believe it? I was really happy I did that, and I would be happy to do it again.
My most precious timekeeper. There's a saying that goes, when you fully trust someone without any doubt, you'll either have a person for life or a lesson for life. You bet I learned a valuable lesson because that quote manifested itself into my life. It was the summer of 2000, before our beloved smartphones and social media even existed. Elio, Tara, and I were exploring the glorious Barcelona. Spain was our first stop on our trip across Europe to celebrate high school graduation. That's 18-year-old me. I'd always wanted a partner who I could trust with my life and stick with me through thick and thin. But the boys I dated were too childish or selfish to be considered trustworthy, except for my sweet Elio. He's always so attentive and cared for me greatly, but somehow he couldn't ease my anxiety. At the beginning, I wanted us to have a couples trip, but then I decided to have my only friend Tara join us, just to be safe. My treat, of course. Only Tara stayed friends with me after many other greedy leeches tried latching onto me for my family's wealth. Sure, I got you, girl. I was thinking you might just chicken out without me. Ha ha ha. She knew me too well. And so our journey began. Why Barcelona, you asked? Because I wanted to connect to my Spanish roots since my grandparents met, then got married over there. Hopefully, Elio and I would be just like them. After weeks of sampling Michelin restaurants, 5-star hotels, and high-end nightclubs, we visited Las Ramblas Market, and so did dozens of other tourists. Ugh, are they not seeing me intentionally? I can't suffocate between sweaty people, so I let us out of the crowd. Here comes fresh air. But hey, where are Tara and Elio? I reached for my phone and suddenly remembered that Elio had my handbag. My whole life's in there. My phone, my money, my passport. Ah, police! Officer, please help! I'm lost and I don't have my documents on me. But why did they keep dashing their gaze to me, then to each other? Oh, they understood me. Then they signaled me to follow them, probably to the police station. What? This is a hospital. They think I'm nuts? No, this isn't happening. What do I do? Excuse me, you need help? That snapped me out of the panic attack. I turned around and saw 2 male supermodels. My. Hang on, time and place, Michaela. Turns out the guy who just approached me was Guzman. He's quite fluent in English and very friendly. Meanwhile, the cold one was Manu, who seemed to be watching me like an alien. I told him about my situation, then they led me to the U.S. Embassy. Luckily, they stayed to help me talk to the embassy staff, who I totally believe is the sloth from Zootopia in disguise. One eternity later, they said they'd help me find Elio and Tara, but it'd take several weeks. Ugh, that's it? What about me? I already told them I had neither money nor passport, right? Where do I stay? How would I survive? Right then, Guzman offered me to stay at his place and work at his family's restaurant in the meantime. Huh? Isn't that too generous to a stranger like me? These 2 beautiful and helpful people could be baits, but without any other option, I had to cautiously follow them. This was the first time I ever had to be on my own in a strange place, and the fact that their home was an old, slightly shabby restaurant didn't help. Mr. and Mrs. Rios, the owners, aka their parents, welcomed and fed me. I wasn't sure if the food was poisoned or not, but my rumbling tummy convinced me to blindly trust them for now. Then they showed me my room. That's nice. Perhaps a bit too nice, especially to a complete stranger. Am I gonna get kidnapped like when I was 5? If it wasn't for my bodyguard, I'd be living in a human trafficker's wonderland now. This room's only secured by a simple slide bolt, so I used all my strength to barricade the door with this wardrobe. Whew, that'll do it. I couldn't sleep much and got up pretty early, but it took me a while to remove my barricade and get downstairs. Scratch that. Or I might give myself scoliosis. At breakfast, they asked me how I was doing. I could only mutter a few Spanish phrases from school and prayed for my Spanish ancestors' assistance, while their replies were too fast for me to comprehend. Besides, it sounded like they used a different language to communicate. Sensing my confusion, Guzman explained that people in Barcelona speak Catalan in their everyday life, not standard Spanish. Oh, right. Suddenly, I felt so alone among them. Unsurprisingly, when they opened, I was assigned dishwashing duty and organizing the storage room because I didn't speak any Catalan. Back home, I had maids and servants pick up after my every step. Literally. So working here was torture. Not to mention the hot weather here was draining me. My slow pace earned me Manu's glare, his annoyed frown, or sometimes a few words that I'm sure weren't very nice. Fortunately, Guzman was there to be the usual comic relief. I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. De nada. You're doing your best, girl. Don't worry about that grumpy cat. Still, Manu was just one of my many problems. Everything seemed confusing, from how they tell the time to the metric system. Not to mention, mealtimes in Spain were always somehow 2 hours late. I swear, I almost blacked out from hypoglycemia the first few days. But today, Manu suddenly demanded I take a table's order. Maybe they sensed my nervousness, so they pointed at the dish they wanted from the menu. Gazpacho and pesto pasta? Got it! Call me Bear Grylls. Improvise, adapt, overcome is the way to go. A while later, I was just vibing in the kitchen when I heard a commotion outside. I ran out and realized the customer from before was coughing violently. What's happening to him? I saw Mr. Rios ran up to his date, asked a few questions, and checked his half-eaten pasta. His face suddenly turned pale, and he immediately called an ambulance. Michaela, did you, by any chance, not hear that he said he had a nut allergy? Perhaps. He told me his food should be nut-free because he's allergic, but that went over my head. Thank God the ambulance arrived on time, so he was okay. Still, Mr. Rios had to apologize, and that meal was on the house. And me? Manu gave me a piece of his mind. Why is he angry at me? He knew I didn't speak their language, yet he made me take their order. I wish I spoke Catalan so I could fire him instantly. Guess I'll have to fire myself. Adios. I was walking around aimlessly when Manu and Guzman found me. They said they were looking for me everywhere. Manu's awkward expression was very unlike his usual cool appearance. Sorry, you not know Catalan, I not know English. We, misunderstand. Go home, please, okay? Now I knew this guy seemed cold only because he didn't speak English. Seeing their sincerity, I followed them back. But will I ever return home? What if I'll never see my friends and family again for the rest of my life? The next day, I went to the U.S. Embassy and received shocking news. Elio and Tara not only had already left Barcelona, but Spain. A week ago. Why didn't you inform me immediately when you found them? Oh, we were gonna do that tomorrow. They're gone anyway. What's so funny about that, you moron? Never mind. Burning this place down wouldn't solve anything. My world had already collapsed. What did I do to deserve this? Why am I surrounded by cruel people? My paranoia was proven right once again. I can't trust anyone but myself. I relayed the news to the Rios and asked if I could live with them longer. They reassured I could stay as long as I needed. They can't reach you now either. They couldn't have abandoned you. Maybe they were looking for a way to help you. Chin up, Queen. Your tiara's gonna fall. This family's hospitality and positive energy are unmatched. Still, it saddened me that I couldn't return home just yet. A few days later, surprisingly, Manu offered me Catalan lessons. In return, I shall teach him English. He was a natural. I, on the other hand, felt like I was born with a wrong tongue. Whenever Manu got mad at me for making mistakes, I'd bombard him with questions as a distraction. Why do you use Celsius and not Fahrenheit here? Why Catalan and not Spanish? And what's up with siesta? I swear, it's like the entire city suddenly drops dead in the middle of the day. At first glance, my questions seemed to annoy Manu, but he actually answered all of them. I could see his iciness slowly melting. Time passed and my Catalan improved. Today, I even chatted with Manu's parents while working. They said this restaurant was established a few generations ago, and many troubled couples stopped by this place. But love always prevails in the end, because our food heals them all. Might sound romantic, but actually, that's because great-granddad liked being a love guru, while great-grandma wished to be a couples therapist. Since then, thanks to Manu and my coworkers, my life got a lot easier. Every time I messed up something, they'd offer help or guidance. One time, I got lost while delivering food and was gone for a long time. But when I got back, they didn't criticize me. One of them even joked that I didn't know the area because I rarely went out. So Guzman suggested we three go to the beach after work. Some vitamin C sounds like what I need. Huh? But only Manu was waiting for me after our shift. It's just us. Guzman's with his hot date. Guzman, you cheeky little schemer. Still, this isn't a date, right? Just two friends getting to know each other. I initially thought we're gonna walk along La Rambla and arrive at Barceloneta Beach, but Manu took me to Playa Badalona, which was a bit further away, but pretty much empty and splendid. Strange how TripAdvisor didn't mention this place. Manu brought out a bottle of cava, a Barcelona specialty. Wow, isn't it expensive? Are you sure I can have this? You worked hard and deserve to play hard. Aw, so thoughtful. He might make me blush. Then we toasted to my chaotic arrival here. That's the stuff. With Manu, I got to see an ordinary side of Barcelona. Not often do I get the chance to be somewhere this beautiful. I should be more adapting. Besides, if I wasn't here, I'd never get to observe this magnificent monument up close. Leave room for Jesus! Jesus! I mean, Guzman? He had a terrible date and came to vent. What were you thinking, Michaela? You have a boyfriend, remember? Eventually, my life here got more enjoyable. I kinda adopted the mañana mentality, so taking it slow became my motto. I now realized whoever invented siesta was a genius. People would sometimes burst into songs, as others would either sing along or dance to the music. Spaniards seem to value quality of life more than those in the States. Speaking of which, I still got homesick from time to time, and Manu's the only one who seemed to notice. You can talk to me anytime. Rest assured, we're all happy to have you here. Okay, I might have a teeny tiny crush on him. No, focus, Michaela. Think about Elio, your boyfriend. I wonder how he and Tara were doing. Speak of the devil, I saw them again that evening on a TV show about tourism in Marseille, France, and they shamelessly claimed to be a couple. I couldn't believe it. However, without my passport, I couldn't get to them. So I asked Manu and Guzman to go there, and they agreed. Girl, don't worry. I'm more than happy to bring those traitors to justice on your behalf. No matter what had happened, I'll be eternally grateful to them, my guardian angels. They returned after a couple of days with my stuff, but Manu said those two showed no remorse as they put all the blame on me. The moment I saw them, I knew those two were big-bucking. Trust me, honey, they're penniless. But I still had questions, so I immediately called Tara, and chaos ensued. Tara said my paranoia and stubbornness tired her out, as they did Elio. We kept it to ourselves all this time because we didn't want to hurt you, but actually, it felt like a relief to not have you around. Did you know that we bonded over shared trauma? That's you. Good. I hope you two are happy asking strangers for money together. Tara, are you talking to Michaela? Mickey, wait! I can't listen to another word. There wasn't even any tears left in me. Manu sat down next to me. Hey, you got rid of those traitors. Why the long face? I'm fine. Don't mind me. I just lost the only two people I trust outside my family. No biggie. Come now, it's not that bad. Give up! What the? Oh, oops, my bad. Don't give up. I mean, cheer up? Don't laugh. I mean it. Since you got here, you've become a lot more independent, haven't you? You're quite a strong, resilient girl. He's right, and not just because I like him. I'd been so caught up in everything that I didn't realize I'd been entrusting my life to him, who I barely knew. I'd been relying so much on him and his family. Maybe it's not so bad knowing good people still exist. And this guy, he makes it so hard for me to leave this place. At the crack of dawn, I woke up to the deafening sound of helicopters? That's my family crest. My parents must have sent those choppers. A swole guy in black came up to me and said my dad wanted me home because I'd gone AWOL for far too long. Then he just grabbed me and we flew straight back to America. I begged him to turn around so I could say goodbye to Manu, Guzman, Mr. and Mrs. Rios, my saviors, but my pleading was completely ignored. I was finally home and went to college, but as a different person. I was determined to socialize more and befriend new people. And no, it's not just talks. I actually moved into the dorm to be surrounded by my peers. It's been a long time coming, but I learned to open up and keep my trust issue in check. I shouldn't pass up on companionship out of irrational fears. However, I couldn't take my mind off Manu. We didn't even properly say goodbye and had no way to contact one another. So I went back to Barcelona to look for him. But when I got there, his family said he'd just gone to the airport. Turns out, he went looking for me too. I immediately got in a taxi and headed to the airport. As soon as I arrived, I saw the earliest flight to America had already taken off. That's how my time abroad wrapped up. Michaela, mi amor, where are you? Yes, my love. That photo album again. I'm right here, eyes on me. Well, I couldn't figure out why you didn't board that flight. I just had a feeling that I'd see you again if I turned around. Call it telepathy.
Here I was, confronting my greatest fear. Math! Wendy, focus. What is 9 plus 11? A, 19, or B, 21? The numbers whirled around me. Panic set in. 9 plus 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equals 19? No, 21? Great numerical gods, why is this so confusing?
You're so extra. Sit up. I'll show you again.
I still don't get why I have to do this, though. It's not like I'm going to school. Yeah, I quit school not long ago to help Mom out, making a couple of bucks. In case you haven't noticed, we're dirt poor. I'm Wendy, by the way. 15 and fabulous. Well, sorta. I know I'm a big silly goofball, but the good thing is my brother, Leo, does not share the same brain cell with me. That guy ate knowledge for breakfast. He went to this elite high school, on scholarship of course, and always the top student 3 years in a row. That's like genius. Mom also said he's our only ticket out of poverty. That's why she held 3 jobs at once, while I gathered scrap metal to sell to the scrapyard to support his study. The 3 of us have been working hard to create a better life for our family. But then, one afternoon, I suddenly noticed posters of Leo that accused him of breaking his classmate's arm. What nonsense is this? I tore them all down and rushed home to see a bunch of gangsters breaking our things. My mom and Leo were in the corner, begging them to stop. Stop! What on earth are you doing? What does it look like I'm doing, brat? I'm collecting compensation for your brother's victim. He messed with the wrong person. The son of a loaded family. You got the wrong guy. Leo wouldn't hurt a fly. Right, Leo? I turned to him, but he just lowered his head in guilt and defeat. How much then? $3,000. 3,000? You kidding, right? Do I look like I'm kidding? Let her go! Just stop it! All of you! Then Mom rushed to the kitchen and brought back all of our saving jars. They're about $1,000. Just take them and leave us alone. I'll pay the rest later. The thug let me go and grabbed the jars. We'll be back next month for the rest. Mom fell to her knees. She looked so hopeless amongst the mishmash. Mom, Wendy, I'm so sorry. Please let me help. The school already suspended me for a whole month. I'll get a job. I'll pay for the debt. No, my boy. Use this free time to study. Once you come back to school, I want you to be the perfect student, so no one can ever look down on us again, okay? But what about the debt? Just leave it to me. I'll work some extra shifts here and there, and everything will be sorted. Now, go study. Thank you. Mom, I won't let you down again. Then he left the room. That's when Mom's smile wears off. I knew she only said that so Leo could have his peace of mind. The truth was, no amount of Mom's extra shifts could get us $2,000 by next month. I think if the math was right, it's time for me to save the day. I tried to get a job, but somehow they all lasted for only one shift. Like when I was waiting for this diner, all the food and drink just fell out of my tray. Or that time when I work at construction site and I got my foot stuck on the thing I just built. I came home feeling deflated. Just then, there was a knock at the door. It was Nathan, Leo's best friend. I could instantly feel my cheeks heating up. Hello, to Wendy. Are you gonna let me in? Or are we gonna stand here, awkwardly? Sure. Come on in. You look, exhausted. You sure you're alright? It's just the whole thing with Leo. I've been trying to get a job to pay for the debt, but nothing worked. I'm sorry all that happened to your family, and I want to help you. But there's something you should know first. After the talk, Nathan got me a job as a maid for his cousin Zach's house. Other maids were showing me around when, Get out! A maid ran past us, crying her eyes out. What was that? That is the young Master Zach throwing a tantrum. He's the illegitimate son of the late master and was only brought here 5 years ago by his grandfather. And let's just say, Madame Linda, his stepmom, is not so thrilled about it. They've been on each other's necks ever since. The girl you just saw was Madame Linda's favorite. She's been a thorn in Master Zach's side for a while now. Then I gotta find a way to get on both their good sides, to prove that I'm perfect for this job. Okay, first day at work, Madame Linda was complaining about Zach's toy car collection, so I threw them all away. But Zach went bonkers on me and went rummaging through the junkyard to find every single one of them. Sorry, Master Zach, it's just Madame Linda. Oopsies. He immediately stormed off to confront Madame Linda. I felt bad, so to make amends between them, I cooked his favorite soup and told him that Madame Linda made it for him as an apology. But as he took the first bite, his face turned green and dashed to the nearest toilet. Whoops. One rainy day, I was taking the trash out and saw a strange woman peeking from the fence. She suddenly tripped, so I helped her up, asking if she was looking for someone, but she just ran away. Whoa, Jesus! How long have you been standing there? Long enough. Come inside, it's freezing out here. Sure. Later that day, I was cleaning Madame Linda's room when accidentally knocked over her jewelry box. It crashed on the floor, spilling jewelry everywhere. One of the bangles snapped in half. I frantically pocketed it to fix it later when the gruff butler swung the door open. I apologized and promised to fix the jewelry box, but he still insisted on firing me. Just then, Zach stepped in and ordered him to let it slide. Zach then stayed and watched me fix it. Where'd you learn to do that? It's nothing. I grew up in a trailer park. Everything we own came from the junkyard. They just need a little fixer-upper. I've been doing it since forever, so... You got a gift. Besides, reusing things is cool. Whatever you say, pretty guy. Say, you want to hang out sometime? Like a date? Maybe. Won't your girlfriend get jealous? What girlfriend? I'm very single and ready to mingle right now. Sure, why not? On the weekend, Zach took me to his favorite coffee shop, and I got to see a softer, more caring side of him. Turned out he never got a girlfriend, so I made him a flirting tutorial. For a price, of course. At first, I thought he was just practicing on me by giving me flowers and fancy chocolates. But then he continued to woo me with my own list. He set up a romantic picnic under the stars in the backyard, took me to the park, and we watched the enchanting sunset together. That night, we walked back to the mansion. Before coming inside, Zach stopped me. These past weeks that I've known you have been the best moments of my life. Wendy, I think I've fallen for you. Will you be my girlfriend? Where did you learn those cheesy words? Do you like them? Is it hot in here? Or is it just you? Stop! I just need you to promise to be on my side, no matter what. I promise. When Zach left, I returned to my room. I pulled out my diary and then ticked off the last box on my list. Well, it was fun, Zach, but everything must come to an end. Soon you'll pay for everything you did to my family. I knew the truth back when Nathan came to our house. There's something you should know first. Your brother was tricked. He didn't start the fight. A guy mocked your poor family, so Leo turned aggressive. After the incident, the guy was salty Leo beated him, so he faked a broken arm and had his family come for yours. They don't need your money. They just want you to suffer.
And who's that guy?
He's Zach, my cousin. What he did was wrong, so I'm on your side on this. And there's another thing.
Nathan played a video of Linda and her thugs threatening my mom and demanding more money.
My rage became scorching. That moment, I decided to get revenge.
That's why I became a maid at Zach's house, sabotaged his relationship with Linda, and made him fall for me. Everything was going just as planned so far. But the next thing I knew, Mom called me to tell me that Leo had been expelled from school and ran away from home. My blood was boiling. That's it. Today's the day Zach goes down. I pulled out Linda's broken bangle and placed it on my bedside table. During the daily room check, the butler spotted it right away and informed Linda. She rushed over to reprimand me for stealing her jewelry. Just then, Zach swooped in to defend me.
Zach, you have to trust me. I didn't steal it. I just wanted to fix it before turning it to Madame Linda.
Don't worry, I believe you. You heard her. I know you despise me, but don't you dare drag my loved one into this.
Oh, finally put it out in the open, huh? You and your low-life girlfriend. Birds of a feather.
You're right, we're alike, and that means we're nothing like you evil witch.
Ha! Let's see how you like it. Alone on the streets.
Guards, throw them out now!
The next second, Zach and I were dumped on the sidewalk along with our belongings. Watching him grappling his stuff, I couldn't help but chuckle. How does it feel to be discarded like an unwanted object? Enlightening, isn't it?
What are you saying?
You remember Leo, the person who broke your arm? Who you used to extort money from my family? I'm his sister.
I think you got it wrong. Leo didn't break my arm. He only shoved me to the ground and said something like, don't talk nonsense about his family. I didn't care, but Linda kept telling me to skip school the next day. She must have used me to make a fuss.
You mocked my family for being dirt poor. That's why Leo was so mad at you.
That's not true. I used to be poor too. You remember the woman lurking around the mansion? That's my real mom. She just wanted to make sure I was okay.
Turned out, Zach and his mom were abandoned by his dad because of their humble background. Then his grandpa found him. Though Zach didn't want to, his mom made him come with his grandpa, so he'd have a better life. But what his mom didn't know was that heck of a mansion was the coldest, most isolated place.
That is, until you came.
And it hit me. Zach is telling the truth. That meant I had taken revenge on the wrong person. Shoot! I am so sorry. I had no idea. And now you're kicked out, Leo's gone, and there's a huge debt. I don't know what to do.
Hey, it's alright. One thing at a time, Kay? I'm not mad at you or anything. I just wish you'd told me. But it's fine. I don't really like that house anyway. What about your brother?
He got expelled and left.
I'm sure he's okay. I'll help you find him, yeah?
Thank you, and I'm sorry. I don't know how to make it up to you.
You don't have to. I got a feeling you didn't come up with this twisted plan.
I didn't. It's actually your cousin, Nathan. I took Zach back to my place where he'd crash in the meantime. Mom was in tears. She told me that Leo was accused of plagiarizing an essay so he could no longer go to that school. But Leo's too smart to do such a thing. So Zach proposed we investigate at the school. To find whose essay Leo supposedly copied, we broke into the school's computer lab that night. We were snooping around when suddenly, Zach was grabbed from behind and dragged away. I slowly turned around and was shocked to the core. I sprinted to Nathan's house, banging on the door. Nathan! Zach was kidnapped! He's the heir to Adam's estate. They took him away for the ransom.
The heir? What do you mean? Your grandfather's lawyer came to see Zach and I overheard him. Your grandfather's sick, so he authorized a lawyer to hand the will to his sole heir, Zach. The will? Do you know where it is? If we swap it for a fake one with someone else's name on it, they'll release Zach and target that person instead. Great idea. I think Zach left it in his bedroom. Maybe it's still there. Nathan and I hurried over to Zach's house. Nathan snuck into his bedroom while I was on the lookout at the door. Nathan switched the will for a fake one and took out a lighter and set it on fire. Just then, I turned on the light, scaring him to death. What on earth, Wendy? Kill the lights or we'll be caught.
You mean you'll be caught?
Then I opened the door, revealing everyone in his family and my brother Leo. What's going on? Enjoying the taste of your own medicine, cousin?
Yeah, you just got busted.
Remember when we were at the lab? I was shocked to the core to see my brother muffling Zach. Shh, be quiet or we'll get caught.
Leo, I thought you left. Mom was worried sick.
I know, I'm sorry, but I need to sort this out. Things have been sketchy ever since that incident with this guy. And now with this, I gotta prove my innocence. So I came here and found this. Look.
Turns out Leo's essay was identical to yours, Nathan. You took advantage of me to get revenge on Zach when he wasn't to blame. You told Leo Zach was bad-mouthing our family to stir things up between them. You made our lives miserable. I trusted you.
I can't believe you'd go this far. You're always obsessed with Grandpa's inheritance. Everything's a competition for you to prove that you deserve to be a successor. All that work, but still nothing. Do you know how many sleepless nights I had to study? Or to hatch a plan, worrying Mom and Dad would blame me for not trying, for not being better? And you just showed up and everyone sees you as this golden child. And all my efforts have gone to waste. Why, Grandpa? Why not me? You were left out of the will due to your greed and scheming behavior. Now I know it's your parents' fault, and there will be severe consequences for them. And you, Nathan, you will join the army after graduation to serve the country, get disciplined, and come back a better man. Guards, take them away.
As Nathan made his exit, he paused at the sight of Leo and I.
I'm truly sorry. For everything.
Then he walked out the door. In the end, Grandpa chose to give Zach his share of the fortune. Zach, however, refused. He never wanted the money. All he wanted was to live comfortably with his mom. So that night, he packed up his things and was ready to go back home. His true home. Seeing Zach, I realized bearing hatred towards someone cannot solve your problem. It just puts you through so much pain, and even hurt other innocent people along the way. If that's just to focus on yourself, you do you, and things will work out on their own. Like now that all mysteries are debunked, our family is free of debt, and Leo can go back to school, full scholarship. Also, to compensate for what we've been through, Zach's grandpa decided to start a charity fund, and my family was the first to benefit from it. They even helped my mom secure a steady job. As for me, I found a knack for making things and found my place as an apprentice at a pottery studio. My coworkers have become my extended family. They always make fun of me whenever he picks me up. Hop on, we're going to a very special place today.
Where to? It's a surprise. Hold tight.